good. We're good. We're good. All right. All right. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Talking That Talk Official Podcast, where we have comfortable and uncomfortable conversations. I am your host, Juice, aka the Ordinary Brother.
All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to your favorite show. I go by the name of King Exodus. We appreciate your time. We ask that you share the live, share the video. So tonight we'll open it up with a motivational spiel where we'll reflect over our current week, and going into the episode. Juice, I'll let you kick it off.
Oh man, listen, things get hectic during the week, especially me and this brother. We still work during the day and podcast at the evening time, and it's up to us to make sure that we still show up time and time afterwards. Yesterday, I used to catch us on Tuesday and Thursdays. I had an event to attend to. I let X know ahead of time, like, hey, listen, I'm looking to get into the tech industry. I had bought some tickets to attend a text mixer, right? So the text mixer had people that were hiring people and people who were also looking to get hired. So it was a good chance for me to look into the industry, the engineering side, software side, the B2B consultant side. It was a whole different vibe, and as I'm talking to there, I'm meeting the interesting thing about if y'all don't know, we are in Houston, Texas. Pretty much majority of people that were at that tech mixture came from different places. It was rarely anybody that was natives that were at that tech mixture that were from Houston. So it made me think like, oh, tech must be really big because majority of people I met, they were from East Coast, Virginia, Montana. I was like, who the hell stay in Montana? Was from New York. Some came from Mississippi, North Carolina. And I'm just like, okay, tech must really be running this course. My brother had asked me like, hey, do you know how many African Americans are into tech? I said, yeah, only 70%. He said, exactly. There's individuals in there that's giving me their philosophy, their ideas, what they want to bring into uh, black individuals into tech. Like one of them had said, like by 2030, we want to increase tech at least by 15%. Get more individuals involved in it. And as much as people talk about tech, that 7% is very small that only African Americans are in. Like I said, um, looking to get into the industry. I'm looking at what field. I'm asking people for their expertise. I got to meet powerful people there. Met a couple of VPs that were there. Met some gatekeepers that were in Google. Some was in IBM. Like, yeah, Juice out there networking. I got to make sure I show my face. Hey, shout out to my brother from Lions Den. He showed up. My brother named Dion. He was right there networking hand to hand. And another thing I say about networking, guys, even when you go with your friend, split up, right? I got contacts talking to X amount of people. He got contacts talking to X amount of people. At the end of the day, I had contacts that he wanted to connect with that he didn't talk to that I got, and he got contacts from people I wanted to connect to that he talked to. So that was the power of just us networking together. So yeah, hey, we're late, but hey, we're here, baby.
Yeah, man, while you was out there, you know what I'm saying, doing that, you know what I'm saying, I was in the gym, man, you know what I'm saying. After a long day at work, I was in the gym, man, you know what I'm talking about. And not just being in the gym, you know what I'm saying, throughout the day at work, I listen to motivational videos. I listen to a lot of information lectures. A lot of people say they don't have time to read, but if you don't have time to read, that still don't mean you don't have time to learn. Everybody got AirPods and earbuds and headphones and everything else. Everybody got YouTube, you know what I'm saying? So everybody got access to audiobooks. So not having time to sit down is not an excuse to expand your mind. So throughout the day, throughout the workout, I'm, listening to shit that I need to listen to. At the same time, making clips, videos, bouncing files around. So needless to say, it's power in being consistent. And you want to show consistency in whatever it is that you're hustling for, whatever it is that you're doing. So it's power in showing up. There's no excuses. Even if you miss a day, you show up late, show up. And when you show up, show out. These are the type of things that not just put the spotlight on people, but people tend to see your dedication. When you talk about like people's favorite artists, Tupac, they say, man, look, the man died with albums unreleased. That's how much work he did. Did a whole album in 2 weeks. Look at Lil Wayne. Yeah, he sipped a lot of syrup, smoked a lot, but hey, from 7 in the morning to 3, 4, 5 in the morning, he in the studio. Sleep a couple hours, go back to the studio. So sometimes, man, the success comes to those that actually hustle for it and grind for it when it's inconvenient and when it's convenient. So make sure you show up. All right.
Definitely, definitely. And one thing I'll also say, because I was talking to X about the event yesterday. I was like, hey, listen, it says supposed to go to 10:30, but we usually record at 9:30, or we'll do a 10 o'clock episode. But I said, you know what? Let me just stay the whole time. Like sometimes a lot of us want to cut things short to get things back on task. I could have did that, but at the same time, me staying a little bit later, I was able to get more information and talk to different individuals that finally had the availability to talk to people because they're the ones that were operating the event the whole time. And like I said, one of the main things I always say is like, listen, if you show up to an event as a plus one, the main thing is to be invited to the next event and not be a plus one. But this was an event you paid for, but at the same time, they were giving out free merchandise that people were paying for. People, if they liked your energy, they was giving out Alexas, like different things. Like I said, I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? One thing I love, the energy that was there. Like people think some networking events is all about like, suit and tie. It was people that was dressed up. It was people that was casual. Me, I like polo shirts and stuff, like just to go out there. But the music that they put into the mixture set the tone that that you understood, like, okay, I can have a good time while doing this. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got. That's the last rant I got right there.
Man, something else that caught my attention. This will be my last thing on that.
That's cool.
It's just learn how to be productive in multiple ways. Like I said, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we didn't get a chance to podcast that night, and you could have left earlier, but I was just like, bro, if we got to move it, just move it. This allows you to be present in the current moment. Sometimes we're too busy looking ahead, or we look in the past that we don't live in the moment. So learn how to live in the present moment. Sometimes people can call it God, some people call it spirit, some people call it the universe. Sometimes you get signs that you just need to sit in a moment and just be present there. Get all you can out of that moment, and then we can move on towards future moments. But don't live and die behind your schedule 100% of the time. It's okay to still be productive outside of your schedule. So you got
it. Let me say I was very productive. The time I sat down after standing up for about 4.5 hours, I felt like I did a workout. My legs was out. I was too busy walking around talking to everybody. All right. Let's go ahead and get started with the subject now at hand. Tonight's subject is low-level dominance. Now, low-level dominance are individuals who are less assertive, less dominant, traits that people would consider, some people would consider individuals somewhat of a beta in those cases. But I also want to talk about low-level dominance when it comes to individuals, when it comes to creating groups, events, stuff like that. Meaning that these are individuals who create certain areas where they can dominate in, but in areas where it really matters, they don't dominate, right? This is where people create the territory for themselves to rule. But like I said, once they leave that kingdom, in reality, they're still nobody. That's one of the things that social media has influence behind people. Some people really feel like they are these dominant individuals because of their persona, their perception, the image that they cast out. But in real life, they don't have nothing that's behind it. So I wanted to put that on the table because I've been coming around that a lot lately. And I always tell people listen, low-level dominance is not respected where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Where you rule freely and do your stuff, that's cool. But when it's time to put the actions behind it, people say you get respected because of your actions. You get respected for your achievements. You get respected for your character. You get respected for your morals. People feel like if they make that domain that's kind of outside it, it doesn't matter. But trust me, it still matters. Low-level dominance is still not tolerated in a lot of areas. But at the same time, some people just like to reign supreme with the things they create. But that's what I'm going with this topic.
All right. The first thing I have to talk about in low-level dominance would be execution, right? Mm-hmm. The process of actually putting forth the action and bringing things into reality. So a lot of people struggle with this type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. Being able to produce a thought is just the beginning. Mm-hmm. Bringing a thought into actuality sometimes is hard for certain people. Certain people want to bring a thought into reality once they feel comfortable. Some people just automatically go for it. Some people will try to read an entire book per se before they make a play. Some people need a certification before they make a play. Mm-hmm. Some people just say, look, I'm going to take what I got and I'm going to work with it. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm going to move accordingly. Whether I know everything I need to know right now. It's fine. I'll figure out the rest later. Some people just jump. Some people over calculate the jumps to where they spend more time calculating than actually jumping. Year after year after year pass, you still at that same position, trying to do your calculations, get your knowledge and information. So everything will not necessarily be perfect before you make that move on executing whatever it is. It's just the fact that sometimes you just have to go. You know what I mean? Some people have a perfect balance between calculating their jumps before they jump. So you just want to keep that in mind. But execution, like executing your thoughts, is kind of like a loaded scenario, and sometimes it's subjective, right? Because who's to say what's 100% low level and high level when it comes to your performance? Nipsey Hussle once gave an interview, and he was like, I think Mark Echo or someone that worked in that company said he was one of the underperformers in music. So he responded, and he was like, maybe based on your metrics, whether it be album sales, popularity, or whatever, but coming from where I come from, I'm already a legend. I've already beat the odds. I'm already that guy based on what I came from. So metrics don't necessarily value if you're high level or low level when it comes to dominance. It's just really based on your how productive are you coming from where you come from. Because everybody don't come from the same situations, the same environments, same circumstances. So it's kind of hard to judge who's operating at a high level and a low level because you really don't know. Like you take Floyd Mayweather, for example. His father was a boxer. His father never attained what his son attained, but his son wouldn't be able to attain what he attained without the father. So sometimes your teachers don't necessarily have to be the GOATs, the professionals of the highest highs and all that, just for you to learn something from them. And I'll give another personal story. I grew up in boxing from like the age of 12, but when I was like in my early 20s, my father had got real close to this guy. He was a recovering drug addict, right? He was an ex professional boxer. He didn't really do a lot professionally, but he was cold. You know what I'm saying? He had hands like nobody I've seen before in real time. So he introduced a new fighting style to both me and my father. Now, this came from a recovering drug addict, somebody that can look at him on the outside looking in, can say he's operating at a low level. He's low level dominant. But that guy impacted both me and my father's lives to high levels. He passed away after he was able to had an impact on both of us. But needless to say, who's to say that somebody that he trained or gave his energy to still can't take that and multiply it? So did he operate at a low level? No. He overcame his addiction. He changed his life, and he impacted people. So sometimes we confuse being effective, having impact, and executing, so to speak. We don't always want to have those things connect all the time. So that's what I got.
Okay. But yeah, I'll also say this I'll just pick up from where you left off. Can a person be more than what he is by watching somebody perform in front of him, even if it wasn't at the highest abilities? Absolutely. That's very much true. Anybody can do that. But more so when it comes to your performance, like you said, sometimes look at metrics, somebody look at the fact, did you go professional, did you go semi-pro, did you do it? There's still going to be somewhat of levels everybody's going to measure themselves up to. That's just bottom line. Like I said, everybody has a perception based on how they perform. And for instance, you got hometown heroes and you got hometown like heroes, and you got hometown, what's the word I want to use?
Icons,
Icons.
like
There you go.
legends.
Icons. There you know what I'm saying. We always talk about, for instance, you got your local rappers and you got your worldwide rappers. You know what I'm saying? Some people look at it like, okay, so they were able to perform at this level. Does that mean that they're less valuable, or did they not reach their full potential? Right? But you got some people who stuck to one lane and became what they call them underground kings. Meaning you don't know about them, but in the underground world, they dominate. That's their throne. That's where they are. But however, like I said, when you go mainstream, then it's in a different category. That's when that could come into play. One thing about being in a low level, I also like throw something out there is when you reign supreme in a low level dominant situation, you can also amplify your dominance, meaning it can gradually increase because the more people that get around you, the more energies that start getting and put it out. You start receiving different energies. You might start acting a different way, and you might take on the roles that involve your character to actually adapt, to evolve, to become more. And then you also have people who feed on that type of energy and might use it as manipulations or use it for what they can get their hands on. One of the best examples I can give you is the difference between different organizations and quote unquote different cults. Like everybody look at cults as something bad, but at the same time, there's people that benefit off of being in that organization. You actually have good cults. For instance, you have, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but there's got one that's dealing with the environment. They don't really call themselves a cult, but it's dealing with the environment. They're all about helping humanity do stuff like that. But even their actions on that level is more so, okay, this is where they are, this is where it's amplified, this is their message. And you can see people who gravitate to that have the same similarity and characteristics that care about the earth. So within that area, they're like supreme, whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, like I said, who's to say that's a bad thing, even if somebody's looking at, yo, you trying to say the earth, but you trying to say the park. How about you try to say the earth? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of interesting how people will look at different scenarios like that.
At least they're trying to save something.
Yeah, I was about to say, at least they're trying to save
something. Judgmental motherfuckers. Yeah, you start talking about cult, they're gonna be like, I knew they was Illuminati. I think Juice the main one.
And that's why he was changing his image, man. They got him, man.
Yeah, they got it. They got it. He's the agent. All right. My next thing would be like average. It's a loaded word. We're in a point in time to where I get it. I love the energy that everybody want to be a boss. I love it. That's great. I like that. Everybody on that boss talk. Everybody want to be an entrepreneur. Everybody want to produce generational wealth. I love it. But however, in reality, a lot of people just aren't going to be those things and produce those things. Now, you still can play a role in the production of these things taking place, right? So even if we talk about generational wealth, you may not pass down $1 million. You might not pass down every tangible thing that's needed to produce it, but you can still play a role within changing your last name's livelihood. You still play a part, right? Sometimes it's just, some people is just good at inspiring people versus going back to executing. Some people are just good at creating a spark in somebody else's brain, getting the knowledge and the information. And sometimes we don't want to take knowledge and information from people that's not proficient, but knowledge and information is knowledge and information. As long as we can fact check the information and apply it, I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? So these are things that come into play as well. So everybody still plays a role, but you start from somewhere. If we say, look, invest in stocks, that's going to change the game. Then it's going to be somebody that say, but you still need at least 100 or 1,000 shares to make profit. Okay, you may need that to become wealthy, but if you don't start with 1, 10, or 20, you're never going to get to 1,000 or 1,000,000. See, this goes back to overcalculating. You don't wait till you get the right amount of money to invest. You start with what you have. 50, 30, 20 ratios. 50% towards obligation, 30% miscellaneous, 20% towards investing. Like, you just ratio out what you have. Some people ratio it out 40-40, and then do something with the remaining 20. Like, some people live off the 40, do this with 40. So you just have to start somewhere. And that does not mean that you're executing at a low level or dominating at a low level, because that's your level. That's high. If you made $100 today and somebody made 1,000, somebody made 1,000,000, who's to say who's high and low? That $100 to you may be the shit. That $1,000 to somebody else may be the shit, and that 1,000,000 to somebody else may be the shit. The point is, you'll never get to 1,000,000 if you never make 100. So it's steps to everything. You know, feel me? So start from somewhere. That's the logic behind it. So sometimes we shit on people, quote unquote, that we call average. But if those people are taking care of their families, putting food on the table, learning knowledge and information, becoming the best version of themselves, who are we to call those people average? Because they don't have what we think they should have. So once again, we just have to be careful how social media and society has everybody thinking. You know what I'm saying? One of my coworkers, we had a great conversation. We like, look, bro, if you had $1 million, right? Well, I'll tell you the real shit. We had crazy conversations. So bro was like, look, if somebody gave you $1 million to cut off your pinky, would you do it? I was like, fuck yeah. $1 million cash, my pinky is gone. I was like, fuck it. I'll double up. I'll be walking around this bitch looking like a pirate. You can take my whole other hand. We double it up. You know what I'm saying? So and so then the conversation went to like, would you quit your job after you did that? I'm like, most definitely. Bro was like, well, $1 million ain't really a lot of money to me. So I keep working for a certain amount of time, keep my benefits, keep doing this, keep doing that. He was like playing it safe. I'm like, you give me $1 million untaxed? What the fuck am I? The same 8 to 12 hours I would give them, I'm not going to give myself to turn that million into 5, that 5 into 10, that 10 into 20. Like, I'm going to put that same effort and time in what I have now. I'm not going to, you know what I'm saying? So some people, like I say, they overcalculate, they play it safe. Everybody's different. Some people might have a plan, but that's just to bring up something to the conversation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some people just have a mentality, like, you don't wait till you get rich to open up a trust account. You don't wait till you get rich to uh, find you CPAs and all this different types of things. You do it in route of becoming rich. That way, if and when you do become rich, everything's already set in motion and play. You don't wait until you get the money to be like, okay, let me plan and execute, because then honestly, it's too late. So that goes back to generational wealth. Before it's a reality, it's a mentality. So you have to get the mindset, the knowledge, the information, the right books, the right reading, the right material, the right energy. That way you have now the discipline, right? You don't find the discipline afterwards, you get it before. So that's the beauty in some people becoming successful later in life. And that goes back to average. Look, if you don't blow up until you're 30, we're going to say you was average before you was 30. Like, if you don't blow up until you're 40, or we're going to say you was average until you was 40 or 50. Some people, Warren Buffett is another person. He did not become Warren Buffett until he was old.
50.
Yeah, so I'm done, man. I'm done.
I mean, no, I was gonna say, man, that was beautiful. I always tell people, like, the way you prepare yourself now is how you handle things in the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why you can move forward like with $1 million is because you already prepared yourself. You're studying, you're in stocks, you're studying things in emotions. I have always said, listen, I'm looking to create a multitude of counselors. Who are those? Those are individuals in different areas, in different industries that I could call upon and exchange information, gain information. I'm doing the same thing right now in tech. I just went to the first event. I'm looking for data scientists. I'm looking for data analytics and engineers. So I'm looking to have all those people in my contacts anytime I call about tech. You know what I'm saying? It's, like I said, that's why when people be like, what would you do with the money if you got it? I know what I'm going to do. That's the difference. That's why some people be like, well, it ain't enough. Bro, you don't know it's enough if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, right? If I wanted to, right, let's just say I get $1 million right now. First thing I'm gonna do is take a loan out for $1 million, and then put everything I already have in place for business to what's the word I wanted to cipher out the money from it in small increments at the same time. I was talking about something, like I said, I brought that up before. I said I know somebody who's about to get their next what's their name? They received their next. It's not a loan. It's something that came from the family. Let's just say next generational wealth gap, whatever it is. She's about to get her next inheritance. There it is. She's about to get her next inheritance. So she's supposed to get $500,000. And she's like, well, what should I do with it? I said, you do business, right? She's like, yes. I was like, well, how much is it going to take for your business to get off the ground? And she was like, well, it might take like $250K. I was like, okay, so you only gonna get the loan amount that you're only gonna use. You don't have to liquidate your money at the same time. Liquid is like the last result from a lot of people told me.
Can you say that again? Can you say that again?
It's the last result. Last result.
Yeah. People don't understand that.
People don't understand. Listen, if you watch Power, there's a reason why they keep saying, they use the business terms the whole time. Tariq was saying, look, I'm almost out of liquid. That means he's almost out of hard cash, because that's all he's dealing with. He can't use credit. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing when it comes to credit. I always say, if you ain't got the liquid, get the credit. If your credit's good, they'll just give you the money. You know, it's it's so many different ways to skin a cat. There's another people who like, yo, get the money first, and then get the skills, get the trade, get the liquid before you go into investing. I'm like, listen, if you got the information, you can go into work right now. It's all about people looking at your business plan, your analytics. Like, do you really understand what you're saying? Because one of the main things one of my friends told me the other day, he was like, yo, I got $1 million idea. I said, all right, bro, I'm gonna be a dick to you, but I'm gonna be a friend to you right now. Let's say you hypothetically came to me right now. I got $1 million plan. First thing I'm gonna say to you is, have you ever made $1 million? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. 750,000? No. 500,000? No. 250,000? No. 100,000? You're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. How you know you're gonna make $1 million? That's what people don't understand. Like on the other side, people are asking things in place. Like, hey, what's your profit margin? What's gonna be your loss? Like, as long as you have that emotion, people will take that investment. And some people will invest into your passion. That's another thing. So just how you said, some people look at data. Some people like the passion and drive, and to know, like, okay, you know what? I could put some energy on it. He got good cash. He looks like he knows what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. To blindly invest, shit, you might as well throw money in fucking fire. That's how I look at some scenarios. But what I'll say, what you had said was, I like how you was taking down, like, who's to say you operate on a low level? That's very much true to the people you compare yourself to, right? There's a top dog in anything you do. I always say, listen, there's a hierarchy everywhere you go. In that setting where I went there, and that was my first event, I can very much tell who was at the top, how things are going, how people are moving around. I even mentioned there's gatekeepers. So there's people that can hire you at these startups and some of them at these top software companies, and you got to talk to them. So now you got to appeal. But at the same time, one guy told me, hey, listen, I wanted to take chances on people who show me the right character. Some people be like, listen, I take chances on people who have the performance. So you never know who's there that's playing gatekeeper with you. So it's best to have both at the same time.
Man, something's just dragging me to this next point. Yo, be humble. Bitch, be humble. Like, feel me? Like, a lot of times people forget where they came from. And, like, even though I'm a humble person, sometimes I got into, like, something simple. Family member hit me up last minute. We doing crawfish. Oh, shit, can you stop at the store and do this? Bet. I'm in the city. You know what I'm saying? I left the city, like, as quick as I could. Because my trajectory and living in the city, I knew I was just going to be too accessible to negativity. So I got to the outskirts. When I need to go into the city, I go. When I need to be on the outskirts, I'm on the outskirts. So I went to, normally, I like H-E-B's. You feel me? We love that store. But I like the H-E-B's that's in the outskirts. You know what I'm saying? It's nice there. Parking lot's nice cars in the driveway, shit's organized. It's beautiful. I'm in the city. I gotta stop at H-E-B on the west. Feel me? So, man, parking lot look like Fiesta parking lot. No disrespect to the west. I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? But it was just different. I didn't get H-E-B vibes when I was pulling up. So I'm like, oh, damn. That's when it hit me. I say, bro, you got a little bougie. You feel me? You thinking, you looking at how tight the parking spaces are. Somebody might hit your car. Like, I'm like, damn, I ain't got a little bougie. Feel me? So
honk the horn at other people, like, yo, I used
I'm like, they do this here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in the store, like, damn, I'm confused, I'm lost, because it's not organized the way most of the H-E-Bs I've been to is organized. So I'm all thrown off. I'm just like, damn, this ain't the best experience for me. And it hit me like, be humble. Like, feel me? Like, remember where you came from. A lot of times people forget that. I'll be real with you. I didn't have money, I lost money. I didn't have money, I lost money. I didn't have money and thought I'd never go back to certain situations, and I find myself back in them same fucking situations.
Nah, bro.
Can I be honest?
I
Can I be
remember
honest?
the time I told
When I had to
because
cut
I
up
never
coupons
go
again,
broke. I never
nigga, I'm like, this, I done got bullshit. What the fuck is coupon? I'm literally cutting up coupons, damn and crying. Like, fucking life, man. Fuck everybody. Feel me? Cutting up coupons, mad than a motherfucker. Man, you know what I'm saying? I was on my health kick. Life started life, and I'm back at Popeyes. I'm, damn, bro. This can't be it. But, yeah, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I went from Papa
yeah,
Do's every weekend back to
Papa
Popeyes.
knows. Yeah, Papa. Man, I went from
Every weekend we
Papa
was in that bitch,
Seafood
man.
to Long John Silver. You just think what I'm declining.
Yeah, we taste of Texas, you know, feel me?
Hey,
Back at Popeyes. I'm trying to get, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I got to get back to the restaurants, man. Feel me? But needless to say, remembering where you come from, sometimes life throws you down alternative routes. Your shit is not always going to be on the up and up. Sometimes you're going to take some falls. You got to bounce back. It's all about remembering that hunger and that grind. You know what I'm saying? I always compare myself to my favorite music artists. I never want to be like 50 Cent in the aspect of music. Get Rich or Die Trying was his best album, and that was his first. Nas' first album was his best album. Jay, best album was the first, but he dropped other albums that can compete with it, for sure, for sure. But then he had albums that flopped. Feel me? So if we talk about longevity, he might be a GOAT in that area other than LL, but I ain't trying to do the hip hop talk. But what I'm trying to say is you always want to remember the hard times. That can feed you in a positive way. You want to heal from the trauma, but you still want to utilize the energy to just keep you hungry, because you're stronger when you're hungry. When you get fat and full, you lose something. You know what I'm saying? Then whatever you're doing just don't hit the same, because you know you're a little full now. So sometimes you just want to just remember where you started from. The Rock, we talked about this previously. $7 is his production company. That's the way he keeps that in his mind. I remember when the only thing I had was $7 to my name. So that's probably the reason he can train movie after movie, interview after interview, connect with the people. He still got a wife and kids. He remember when he didn't have it, so that keep him going, wanting more. So that brings me to like another train of thought. You're not greedy then, because it's pure ambition. It's not a negative ambition. It's not greed. It's just you remember when you didn't have it. So it keeps you going and going and going and going, versus I just want more for the thrill of it. There's nothing wrong with wanting more. Why do you want it? Where is this energy coming from? If it's coming from hunger, yo, I don't think you're going to crash into greed problems. So you got it.
man. Two things went through my mind when you said be humble, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember today I just happened to get on Facebook, just read this message by somebody, and they were like, yeah, license here, I'm licensed here, I'm licensed here. I'm letting y'all know y'all can't even sit at my table if you're not in my tax bracket. Fuck being humble. I was like, what the fuck? I literally read that, bro. I am dead serious. I literally read that. I'm like, hey, listen, congratulations. I'm reading comments. People like, yeah, fuck all that humble shit. You did that. And I was like, like, you know what I'm saying? But it's crazy because at that same, and listen, I can result everything back to what I experienced yesterday. One of the gatekeepers I talked about said, listen, I truly like helping people, right? I could be some of these people that's here that's telling you, go to the website. That's how they pass people off, like they don't want to talk to them. But since I got here, I am very thankful and humble for where I'm at. So let me direct you on how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a humble moment, right? And like, listen, in that room, you can tell the people are humble, and when people have the money, how they're acting, and you can tell by the energy at the same time. Everybody has different energy that was interacting there. Well, like I'm saying, it was definitely some people there that were in them tax brackets, even higher. Like I said, met a VP there. So, like I'm saying, but even their mentality was, hey, we're still going to come to these functions and these events because I want to give back to people. I know what it's like to try to break in the barriers I have to go through, and people I have to talk to. How I'm going to do a loophole to get in this. Listen, I'd rather just be the straight source, so these people can get it. I'm like, damn, like
Mm.
that eliminates a lot of things. That's why I said one individual said I am the connect for Intel hire and Extel and hire. Intel, all I do is talk to one of the individuals that's at Intel, like, hey, are we hiring anybody right now? They'll say, we're only looking for Intel right now. But hey, if you pass me out a resume right now and your Excel and it's our, and you know, your Excel try to come in, I already got you in the door. The minute they open up and say that you're hired, that they're hiring, you're already the first person there. Why? You built your relationship with me. I got to see your
Mm.
character. And I don't understand, like, as much as we want to show the non-humble approach, some of our pride, some of our ego, they don't play that shit to hire you go up. Because some of them remember what it took. That's a big difference. Some of them remember really the amount of hours, the amount of people that they talk to. One guy told me, like, listen, if you're trying to get into tech, it's not a 9 to 5. You're going to work until the job is done.
Mm.
And I was just like, I have no problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, and I kind of overheard him a couple of questions, heard other people. Some people was like, what kind of hours are you looking at? I didn't care. I just said, okay. So his mindset is to prepare people for the amount of work they're going to do than it is to tell you, hey, it's going to be fucking easy.
Yeah, and you already trained, going back to training, which is probably like one of my other points, you already trained yourself for that because you already work crazy hours. Now, see, a lot of people don't understand progression. Some people only want to, I hate when, like, I'm from the hood, so I hate when I hear people be like, that job don't pay enough, so I ain't gonna work the job. But you don't have a job. Oh, so you ain't got nothing, but they ain't got enough to give you, but you cool with not having nothing because you ain't gonna work for little to nothing. That's fucked up. That's a fucked up mentality. That's a person that's sick in the head that don't have a job but won't take a job because the job is beneath them. But you think if you're like next stage to being homeless, that anything would be good enough just for now. And then I tell people, maybe you take that job that you feel is beneath you, and maybe you will meet a right connect at that job, and that can take you somewhere. People don't see the route, the journey. Once again, you don't just get to pick how you want to progress throughout life. Sometimes you just take what life gives you, you move with it, you work with it, and then you turn that into something bigger. But you train yourself. You can't be a boss if you've never been a worker, 9 times out of 10. You can be trained to be a boss if you come from a family of bosses and that's all you know is being a boss, maybe. But still, you don't know how it is to work. So
Yeah.
there's some workers that still may be a better boss than you, even though they've never been a boss, because they know what it is to be on the field.
Right.
This
Bro.
is the connection between the worker and the boss. You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
If you know both sides, now you a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know how to click on both ends. You know what it's like to be in the field, and you know what it's like to operate. You know what I'm saying? So that goes back to the charisma, being humble.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to be prepared. You want to train. You just don't want to train on offense. You want to train on defense, right? You, all this shit is life. It's real life. That's why I like to work out. That's why I like to read and study information. And you know what I'm saying? It just prepares you for other things that come into life. You study health so much, it might not come into play the way you think it should. You eat better, you live better, and then somebody come to you sick. You're like, oh, I bet I know what that is. Da, 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 da. I'm not a doctor, but just putting my free time and energy into learning and making myself proficient in different areas, you might be of service without even knowing it. And that's the key point about low level and high level dominance. You never know your impact to other people. You're just training for different things in life. You don't know when you're going to get sick. You don't know when you're going to go broke. You don't know when you're going to get rich. You don't know when things are going to happen. You just train just in case it happens. You're ready. Right. So you always want to be on defense. I'll take it to the fitness world. I'm going to mix this up on y'all. You got TT Fletcher, Ronnie Coleman, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who else am I missing? And Dexter Jackson, for people that don't know.
Man,
Dexter Jackson.
Right there, boy.
Old school. Dex is in his 50s, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Injury-free, probably won the Olympia once or twice. right? Longevity. He's been on stage with everybody. You have Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman won the Olympia more than Arnold Schwarzenegger did, right? So some people, he's the GOAT, and he had a better physique than Arnold could ever dream, right? But Arnold had less Olympias than Ronnie. But since Arnold was so impactful to the culture, he shifted the culture. He went to the movie world. He dominated Hollywood. He went into politics. His name is so big that people say he's the GOAT, even though he don't have the accolades that Ronnie got when it comes to bodybuilding. And then you got this old guy from Compton, never won Mr. Olympia, wasn't even a bodybuilder per se, power lifter, completely different. Not a lot of people know about him. YouTube, famous, got his own company, but he touched so many people's hearts around the world just based on his story. It's still your motherfucking set. Never give up. Hardcore, strict, military, conquer through pain kind of mentality. So you can't tell certain people that rock with CT Fletcher that he's not bigger than Arnold. You can't tell people that rock with Arnold that he's not bigger than Ronnie. You can't tell people that rock with Ronnie that he's not bigger than Arnold. Dexter Jackson got his own crowd of people as well. What I'm trying to say is, who's to say who of them is at the highest level or the lowest level of dominance? Impact your world. Your world may not be big as mine. I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? My world may be bigger than yours. You should be cool with that as well. 19 Keys got a thing that I love hearing. Some people are a light bulb. Some people are a sun. A light bulb lights up a room. The sun lights up a world. You know what I'm saying? But both shine. Like, coexisting. Like, if people look at you, you impact people. They get motivated by what you're doing. You're able to teach, provide service. Yo, you high level to those people. You feel me? So I just had to bring up those scenarios. 4 different people, 4 different styles or whatever. But to the people, each one of them got their own cult. I can guarantee you that. They got their own followers that live and die behind everything they say. Feel me? So just get your poster on somebody's wall. Have that mentality. You feel me? But you do that by becoming the greatest version of yourself. That's how you operate at a high level. Even if it's not in comparison to somebody else, because like you said, it's going to be somebody at every level. So if we don't, you feel me? If we don't have somebody, for every business that's successful, you have a whole chain of operation. If one link falls out of that chain of operation, the whole thing goes to shit. So you need people at the top, middle, and bottom. This is how it works. Sometimes we just got to be comfortable with the fact that I like it when people say, look, I didn't do this, but I was still able to meet this person, and I was still able to work with this person. I stood shoulder to shoulder with this person. Like, sometimes this means a lot to people, for their grandkids to say, my dad knew Muhammad. Like, I grew up in boxing. The guy that owned the boxing gym, PABA, he sparred with Muhammad Ali, and he knocked him down, right? And he had a picture of it in the gym. So whenever we would go to the gym, we say, oh shit, Ray knocked down Muhammad Ali. So in our minds, he was never Muhammad Ali, right? But just the fact that he sparred with Muhammad Ali, knocked him down, you couldn't tell us that wasn't our guy. Right. To us, he was completely high level. So you got it. What up, Sir? You know about that.
Hero right there. Yeah. That's enough. Like, see, so people don't understand, even on a local level, that's good enough. Just to know, like, I can touch this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Because still perform at a high level doesn't mean you can ever get near them at the same time. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes it's better to be able to be next to a person who has done a lot than to only hear about a person and never be around them. Mm-hmm. It's a different type of energy that happens right there. It was one thing you said, man. I was trying to pick up after it, but it was very impactful at what you were saying. Like I said, the small things that you do, like I always talk about, small impacts still lead to big results in the future. Right? I told you before, like, hey, look, as a man, I'm nowhere where I think I should be in life. I'm just that hungry to make more out of myself. But I always have. But like I said, I'll be attending an event tomorrow. A woman asked, like, yo, a couple of ladies friends I know, they asked me to mentor their kids that are men. Like, hey, listen, I rather put you around my kids. I see how you move. I see how you talk. I see the changes that you have made. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, I I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just literally just in the action, the activity of doing. And I remember when she was telling me, like, yo, you help impact my mind, you help me out so much. Um, I told people about the story before, like, listen, if I'm a friend for you or we have any relationship, I'm gonna look out for you, right? In the neighborhood I was, I work in, they was giving out a free couch. I was just like, fuck it. I picked the couch up, came back for it, gave it to her, and she was just happy, ecstatic. Like, yo, you gave me a free couch? I was like, yeah, it was for free. You ain't gotta pay me nothing. You know what I'm saying? I just look out for people naturally. Like, I done had gave my homeboy my old washer and dryer. Like, at first I was charging for it. I was like, man, bro, take it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the smallest things you do, it's helpful. You know what I'm saying? It's beneficial. People never forget that. And that's why when people be like, yo, he's a nobody, if somebody is technically looking down upon him, you're going to forever get defended by people you impact. There's times I'm not in the room, people tell me, like, yeah, so-and-so was talking about you, but listen, I wasn't having it. That's how impactful you can be. Like, people will forever grasp onto the things that you have done for them and put you in a higher light than you might not ever see yourself in. Because this is natural for you to just be who you are. Acts of service, wanting to be an aid, wanting to help people think better, be better. Man, I can't just, like I said, just off me a little ranting right now. I remember my homeboy that was with me yesterday, like I said, DR, he was like, man, what was your thoughts when you went to the tech conference? I said, listen, it's time to go to work. Like, nobody knows me here. I was like, it's time to go to work. I said, you have experience, people have experience, and some people's coming in to get knowledge. I said, it's time to go to work. I said, I'll be attending any tech conference in Houston forever. It's time to build myself up. And that's the mentality you should have. Anything you're trying to do in this world, start getting active. Look for them meetups. Look for them, whatever it is. The more you show yourself up and become familiar, it's easier for people to grasp up on you.
Man, in a particular space, like, you know what I'm saying, like, accolades are very key and critical. I would never, like, shit on people that actually go out and get the accolades. And then you have people like, I love Hitmaker's interview he did with Breakfast Club. And it was like, look, do you know how to make beats? He said no. He was like, but I'm the best producer. Facts. And like, so you don't make beats? He's like, no, but I know how shit sound. I know how to put the right person with this. I know how to bring the right people in the room to make the perfect product. So needless to say, everybody plays a role. You just have to know what role you play. There's going to be people that have the accolades, right? But accolades alone still doesn't mean that you have the networking ability or you have the right things that can connect you to the right moments.
Absolutely
So
true right there.
everybody has a role. Like Diddy wasn't, like Diddy didn't play pivotal. Like I didn't know Jermaine Dupri produced as many songs as he did. Like I didn't know, like you don't know who's writing the songs, who's connecting the artists, who's bringing in the right producers, who's saying this track just needs this little thing here and you need this to pop and let me just throw this on the intro. You just look at the product once it's complete. So this is just word to the wise. Like, let's check our egos sometimes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Accolades alone, work ethic is great for some people, and then some people don't have that type of work ethic towards accolades. They just know how to piece the right things together. Henry Ford, like, what did he say? Like, I don't have the knowledge and the information, but I have people that work for me that have it. Like, you feel me? Like 50. I never went to Harvard, but the people that went to Harvard that work for me, like, it's everybody got their role. So don't get caught up in your ego. You know what I mean? And but I can say I don't want to I don't want to seem like I'm playing a side versus high level and low level. So to the actual high level people that's dominating, shots at the low level people, stop getting high off knowledge. Some people get high off ideas, but never bring them into fruition. Some people get high off knowledge that they never use. And yeah, you may play a critical role in someone else's success, but wouldn't it be great if you could use some of that energy towards yourself? Like, that's how people can become snitches, snakes, the Judas, the, you know what I'm saying, type of mentality is that you never utilize this energy for yourself. So let's just kind of check. We don't want to spend too much time learning and never put to use what we learned, because then sometimes it really can just simply be knowledge wasted. Let's just keep it honest.
Yeah.
Sometimes you really can just be wasting energy. So that goes back to what separates talent from people that's successful is sometimes people that lack talent have a bigger hustle, bigger grind, bigger networking experience because they know they lack talent. Sometimes talent gets people in their ego and they feel like they don't have to do the necessary steps to become great. So let's connect the two. Let's have the type of mentality to where we're hungry, right? To where we feel like we don't have the talent, so we overemphasize in everything else, networking, knowledge and information, piecing the right things together, turning down our ego. And then on the same side, let's actually produce the talent. That way we can click on both cylinders and actually become high level dominant, right? So this is words to the wise. You don't want to spend forever. Like, I love the fact that some people, I'm the same way. When I buy a book, I don't really have the intent of reading the entire book. I just keep it honest with you. I look through the index and be like, okay, this chapter, I think I need this chapter today. I need this chapter right here. And I go through, I highlight it, mark it up, make my notes. So I may not read the entire book, but I'm going to use what I need from the book to get me to the next level. And then who knows? After I hit so many levels, I may finish the whole book. But you just don't want to get high and say, look, my library is packed and I got all these books I read.
Shit, man.
You spent too much time reading. So now 5 years later, you're still in the same position.
Right.
So was the knowledge and information worth it at that point? I'm going to be honest with you. What? Because you ain't do shit with it. Feel me? So sometimes we just be careful. You don't want to get high off knowledge. So you got it.
Oh, definitely. I'm buying hardback books right now, but I'm only listening to audios. That's crazy. I'm just stacking up my library, just to be honest. But I'm just listening to the audios majority of the time. There's times I've been so consumed by knowledge, bro. There was time I was in knowledge realm, bro. And this is why I said people get stuck in knowledge. I remember I want to compare myself to Warren Buffett at one point and Bill Gates. It's like, hey, they read about 50, 60 books a year. I said, you know what? Let me do that too. So I remember times I'll just spend a whole day reading. And I remember there's an alarm that goes off on my phone that says nothing but income and producing activities. So when it goes off, it means like, hey, it's time to go out there and let's go make some money. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, man, fuck that shit. Let me go read this book, man. I got, you know what I'm saying? If I read these books like they do, man, you know what I'm saying? I'll get there.
Books cost money, you know.
They cost money too, man. And I remember at times I'm going to work with a book in my hand, and they're like, yo, you really read it? Like, yes. Every other day they see me with a different book reading. They were like, oh, you really like reading. But I was getting so much knowledge and knowledge at the point, but I wasn't really just producing it. Yeah, I can have that amazing conversation with you. We talk about the book, but hey, what are your actions like? Well, look, you know, when I finish this, you know, what it's saying, you know, that I can go according to the book. I'm supposed to, you know, go left and right and put a couple quarters in a piggy bank and, you know, open up a fund, you know, but first I got to finish it to know how to do it. And listen, I don't think I read a book this year. I listened to every book.
Same.
And I've been buying books all year. I've been buying books all year. I'm just listening to it. Like, it's sometimes you got to put that down and get immediately to action, right? I remember, who was it? He said, listen, if knowledge was everything in this world, then librarians be the richest people in the world. So that's just people who just like, damn, okay. He said it's the actions behind it. Like one thing every book you'll read is perception based. Everybody went through different things. That's why I said, look, hey, the real estate market, this is how you make money. People are like, hey, the stock market, this is how you make money. Look, tech, that's how you make money. No, no, logistics, that's how you make money. No, 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 no. What you want to get into is sales. That's how you everybody has their own niche on how they do everything.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, it's up to you to see which one works for you. Unless you create an industry out of thin air and shit. But when it comes to this, the knowledge, I would also say definitely don't overconsume. I would say the richest man in the hood mentality. He got all knowledge in the world, but he can't tell you why he didn't get the fuck out. But
Talking the talk. Look, one of my last points, and I'm honest, bro. I be lying sometimes, but one of my last points. I be lying on this. I'm saying this is my last thing, and then I go for another 30 minutes. But mastery is critical. It's very powerful when they say you never want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. Look, mastery is important, and it's so important. I don't think people understand it.
Robert E. Greene,
just because you have a passion does not mean that's what you're supposed to master. That's not the case. And what I like about people that's like really, really, really take this shit serious, some people go to the point to where they like, look, all right, bet I have an inclination to do this one particular thing that I do naturally. You feel me? It may or may not be my strongest standpoint. However, let me research self. Let me become more conscious. What's my birth chart? Okay, but what's my life path number? Okay, bet. I'm become more conscious of self.
Nice.
What does this do? This lets me know, boom, bam, bam. Okay, based on astrology, this lets me know prediction-wise, more so what my actual purpose is. What am I here for? What am I good at in this particular time? Some people could study the days of the week and know how it lines up with their astrology, and they know what day of the week to make what certain kind of play based on the energy around that day. Like some people take it that serious to know how to move. What they say, millionaires don't really fuck with astrology, but billionaires have an astrologist, a numerologist, and all that.
They have all that.
So it's real.
It's real.
Some people take it that serious.
Right.
You feel me? So mastery is critical and key. You want to actually master the things that you're actually here to master, not what you want to master. And that's why we go back to strengths and weaknesses. Some people never study themselves enough to actually know what they're strong at and what they're weak at. So it's not that you can't be successful or you can't be wealthy or you can't be great. You just really don't know what you're strong at and what you're weak at, realistically. And you're trying to build too much energy around the things that you're weak at. But you still want to improve your weaknesses once you become conscious of what your strengths and your weaknesses are. So a very like prime example is like, let's just say basketball, for example. Like you may be a better coach than you was a player, Steve Curry. Feel me? Like wasn't a great player, but he played with Jordan, won with Phil Jackson. So good coach. Wasn't a sucky player, but he wasn't the greatest player. But getting in the league put him en route to become a coach, like strengths and weaknesses. So you just have to keep these types of things in mind. Will Michael Jordan and LeBron James be a coach? Probably not. They was just that much great at playing the game. They may not be that great at coaching. You feel me? So strengths and weaknesses. So never conflict your passion and things that you're passionate about with the reality of what you're actually good and not good at. So you don't want to waste time trying to force things to happen. You know, feel me? Like some people, when they pick up a microphone, they just better than you. When they pick up a football, basketball, a pen, or whatever, they just better than you. That's okay. Everybody still have a place in certain areas and fields, but just spend more time connecting with yourself, learning who you truly are. That way you won't waste no time dominating at low levels on the wrong things. So
I was about to get to that. Like, I'm about to talk about we just said we just did the interview with Shannon Sharp and Steve Harvey. He said, "Listen, I do my strengths it came to the Kings of Comedy. He said the minute the opportunity came up to be an announcer, he said I went right there. He said performing after them guys, I couldn't handle that. Being
Couldn't
on the
handle it.
mic, that was a different thing.
Well,
And
that's good.
that's another thing about, I'm gonna be honest when it comes to true dominance. True dominance is knowing you're not dominant in everything. And to the statement earlier, because anybody get confused when I said, listen, we don't respect low level dominance. Also, another thing when it comes to low level dominance is bullying. That's low level dominance. When we see people that's getting picked on or doing certain things to other people, they peep that. There's nothing respect about it. You know what I'm saying? If anything, the higher ups see how you move and hey, might clip you. Or they'll let it be known. Or see, one of the worst things that can happen is you bully somebody and somebody sees it and they bring that person in where you wanted to be. It happens though. It happens though.
Yeah.
So that's why I said when it comes to low level dominance or dominance periods, is on your respect, your characters, you're working for it. Your respect is gained through who you are as an individual, not because you're trying to put things in motions to a point where everybody's abiding by what you create. At the same time, what you created needs to be harmonious for everybody. It needs to be balanced, right? If I create an organization right now and it's only just purely for me, for operation, and it's like, okay, well, nobody else is going to thrive but me. However, if I create something that everybody can thrive in, that's a whole different situation, right? That's why if you see some groups now, they'll be like, yo, so who's the leader here? Nobody's a leader. Everybody executes here. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference between, that's another thing we don't talk about. We understand groups and placement where we know we can pinpoint out who's the dominant figure, but when everybody operates in a good level, you can't pinpoint it out. There's no weaknesses. Everybody's purely strength. Everybody leans off each other. Nobody oversteps their boundaries. Nobody disrespects the code or whatever you make up between y'all. It's just pure love at that point. So nothing comes in between y'all and that group. I remember a situation where we was creating that younger when we was kids and stuff, bro. When you really got things going, people just flow. Things just flow just like a river.
Man, these not even points, man. These just examples, and then I'm done. My perspective on marriage changed throughout time, and this goes into low level and high level dominance. I was speaking to a friend.
Man, goddamn, man.
I was speaking to a friend, and long story short, I'm like, bro, like where we come from, we probably may or may not see our parents be in a relationship. Well, be married, nonetheless, even be in a relationship. We come from co-parenting households. It's like the norm in our communities. We see sometimes people, we go to more funerals than weddings. So for the average black male, 9 times out of 10, growing up and being somebody's husband is like a farce. You know what I'm saying? So for a high level dominance to most is just like, shit, I can commit. I'm giving you that. You feel me? To the woman on the recipient end, she's looking at marriage. If that's what she's looking at. You're looking at where you came from, what's high and low level to you. You're like, based on where I came from, I'm already functioning at a high level. Needless to say, nudge yourself. Always find out why you set the bar at where you set it. Always question and reflect, go back into the mirror and see if we can nudge ourselves even more. Then we can come to find out, yo, I'm traumatized. This is why I feel like this is high level to me, is because the trauma got me setting my bar low. If we go into the world of stocks, a company can meet their quarterly quote if they set it low. You set it high, you meet that quote, y'all are really making money. The bank is popping. So sometimes you don't want to operate on a low level, regardless to what we said previously. You always want to set the bar high, but be cognitive of how you're setting it high, why you're setting it high, what's high and low to you based on as you navigate, right? So, needless to say, studying wealth, generational wealth, this term people throw around, we both came to a conclusion like at some point, this is how wealthy become wealthy. This is the last name is this important. And sometimes you don't get into certain experiences and rooms and doors until you have this type of thing on your resume, which is family and marriage. And this is where once you start to learn and continue to expand your knowledge and information, even if you're a high level at it, you just begin to find out, yo, I gotta go harder. I
Right.
gotta improve more. So it changes your perspective. So being a high level person, your perspective should change. Some people change their perspective by the months, some people change it by the years, some people change it by the weeks. If
Yeah.
we continue to think the same, we're gonna operate the same. So we never want to think the same. If you talk to me now, I want you to know who I am now. You talk to me 3 months from now, I want you to be like, damn, that boy thinking different. He got a whole another conversation going.
Mm-hmm.
That's growth. That's operating at a high level, continuous growth. And even in training, you trying to build your body, build your physique. What's heavy to you now is heavy to you now. If you really grow, that shit not gonna be heavy to you, right? You're gonna continue to nudge yourself, right? And then you're gonna download that into your muscle memory, and your brain is gonna record the data and information. It's gonna know what this weight feels like, right? So even if we stop working out for a little bit, it's still recorded within us that we know what this struggle feels like. So even when you eat food, you look down at your food, you get the smell of your food, you're tasting it, your brain is recording that data and information. So we know that we like crawfish. We know the smell of crawfish. We know the taste of crawfish. We downloaded the data. So needless to say, everything in life is about expanding your data and nudging yourself. You always want to challenge yourself. Don't wait
Yeah.
on life to challenge you, challenge
Absolutely.
yourself. So perspective should change. And sometimes people just need to grow. You feel me? Like what's low level and high level to you should always change based on your growth. So that's my closing.
Man, listen, y'all know my one. I got many philosophies, but what he's basically saying is one of my favorite ones. Progress is necessary. Progress is mandatory. Do not look,
Mhm.
do not look at life like you shouldn't make progress, right? And then some people will look at it like, well, is this any? Is there such thing as making too much progress? I was like, I'd have people like try to challenge me
No,
on stuff like I be saying, but I was like, nah, I
it's
don't
not.
think you can make too much progress. I mean, the moral of it is like be adaptation, be adapted. That's one of my favorite things.
Hmm.
Uh, the more you get into it, the more you understand different realms,
Hmm.
different environment, right? Like so when people try to pull my cards, I'll be like, listen, I don't mind putting it on the line. Show me the environments you thrive in, and I can show you the environments you won't be able to thrive in. It's because I can tell if you can adapt to certain things. People always think, well, I can code switch. That's not enough. That's not, it's not enough. The smallest things that you think is enough to get to certain access points, like no, like it's not. Like it's, whew. I don't know. Like I said, I'm going after a lot, so it requires me to make progress. Is that's why progress is mandatory
Hmm.
and it's necessary. It requires me to keep growing, be around different people. Uh, Interesting enough, man. Even I said I'm a very curious soul. I like to see if anybody thinks the same or thinks different. So I'll throw out random conversations just to see how people engage them.
Hmm.
Uh, Met a young lady today, and as we're talking about she's in the manufacturing business. I said, okay, so what do you see yourself doing there? She's like, well, this is just kind of to stay my main source of income. I'm looking to make passive. I was like, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking like, okay, now we get to the conversation now. So like, what industries do you see yourself going into? She's like, well, I see myself doing this and that, setting up different real estates. I said, okay, well, real estate, are you looking more residential, commercial? Well, I'm gonna look more commercial because it is, like I said, we're just giving different perceptions on this stuff. And one thing about it is, when it comes perception based, is I'm talking to somebody that's outside of the black community. I wanted to know, like, okay, if y'all ever hear me talking, I was like, I want to know is information really the same that's getting taught to us versus getting taught to somebody else? And I just say, Language is universal, but what is that? Every sentence that's given is different. So somebody might say, "Listen, don't show your teeth unless you're gonna bite," and somebody might say, "Don't bite out more than what you can chew." It's like two different languages and two different statements at the same time. So even for myself, I've been taking an IQ test for like the last 2 days. While I was at work today, I'm getting quizzed. I'm getting IQ the whole time. They were like, "Tell me how story and the imaginations is similar." I was like, "Yo, hold on, real quick. Yes, ma'am. Here's your box right here." You know, I'm just always trying to better myself. I'm just very much that hungry. And even when I get off here, I got to finish another IQ test. This is another thing. Like, see where you are and how you operate. There's Strength Finders test, Gallup Strength Finder test. There's the color test. There's the start taking tests. See what your strengths are. I know what I'm compatible with, and that's what I stick with. I'm not trying to look outside of it. Like, one thing about me, I like the network. I like to get people together. People are like, "Hey, do you know here? Hey, here you go. You know people here? Here you go." Even at that tech meet, I didn't technically, like I said, I didn't know nobody in tech. But people I talked to, I remember they the ID thing. I said, "Oh, you're looking for somebody here? Here, go to that person right there." Just the smallest things you do can contribute. It's amazing. That's all I gotta say.
I ain't gonna be a liar, man. I said that was my last
Goddamn,
voice, man.
man.
I ain't gonna be a liar, man. I'm good. We can close, man. We can close, man.
You don't want to lie real
I
quick?
don't want to lie no more, man. I'm trying to be at a higher level. All right, you ready to close?
All right, man. Go ahead, close it down, man. Go ahead, close it down.
Hey, before we do that, man, shouts out to Etasha, man. She really be tapping in and commenting and everything. We appreciate that for sure, for sure.
Man,
All the day ones, all the people that always watch and comment, we appreciate y'all. Alrighty, so Talking That Talk official podcast. Make sure you tap into the YouTube channel. We got them link in both of our bios. Up top, we got No Ordinary Brother. I go by the name of King Exodus. We thank you for your time. It's Friday night. A lot of things going on. You can be doing anything. Got the NBA playoffs. We got all kind of things going on tonight. Yo, we appreciate y'all, man.
do all that.
Thank you.